Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Love Island USA Season 7, Episode 28.
We need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. Listen here. If you haven't subscribed, I would suggest you do because tomorrow, y'all know what tomorrow is. Tomorrow is Deep Dive Day. That's the day where there's no episode but the After Sun. But we come up with our own discussions and we go deeper than, the review. So the review won't be 10 hours. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you turn on that bell because y'all know the rules. There is no time of when I will release it. Once I get done editing it, then what, Blair?
You get it up off you.
I get it up off of me. It could be at 3 p.m. It could be at 3 a.m. Just make sure y'all have and be ready. You ready, Blair?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
So Iris is upset that TJ left, and Shelly says that we will be here for you, girl.
Okay.
I wish y'all were there for her by standing behind her man so she wouldn't be feeling this way.
Do you actually know what's crazy, though?
What's that?
At this point of the game, I expect gameplay.
Yeah.
And I'm not so mad at gameplay at this point of the game because now it's after Casa. Now the real couple should have been tested and things of that nature. But the problem with this cast is that the people who are not even closed off, right, have the audacity to decide, hey, you know what? We felt like, Pepe and Hannah, Pepe was too tunnel vision, so we got rid of Hannah. TJ and Iris, yeah, we just go realize that we just go get rid of y'all since y'all are the real couple. It's just like, yeah, that's why I'm like, I feel bad for Iris, but at the same time, I gotta admit, hey, it is gameplay.
Taylor apologizes to Clark for putting her in a tough position. Ace and Shelly have a conversation. She's confused to see herself and Ace at the bottom, but they know who they are, so they are good.
You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, I don't think anybody should come on this show and get torn down to feel like they aren't whoever they believe they are, or whatever. But I do think that this is a good reality check in order for Ace and Shelly to move differently. And I think Shelly kind of got the idea of what she was doing wrong because she was moving a little bit differently in this episode than we've seen her move previously. She was actually having conversation with folks. She was trying to clear the air with people. She was making her intentions be known. So that's my main thing with Shelly is that I was just annoyed by her confusion because I feel like we could all see where her interests lied.
Yeah.
So
I find it funny that they are confused of what America thinks. I think even at the point where Ace was pursuing Shelly, a lot of us felt like, yes, we see that Ace always had eyes for Shelly, but we just don't feel it. We didn't know what the it was. We see that, hey, even though she was coupled up with Austin during the time, we knew that she had no interest in Austin. But even when Shelly and Ace got together, it didn't feel like a breath of fresh air. And I really don't know why. Maybe the well was already poisoned with them because we heard how like they met on the outside and things like that, even though they did not know that each other will be on the show. But it's just something about them two that doesn't give me the feels. It doesn't give me the, I'm happy they are together.
So Chris thinks that Iris should have left if she liked TJ that much. Elan is interested in taking some time to talk to her if she's open. Zach wants to explore Amaya and Olandria. And Sierra voted for Taylor because Nick would have been devastated.
What is your thoughts?
My main thing with Zach is I don't want anybody using Amaya is my thing. I think that with Amaya and everyone seeing that she's pretty much America's sweetheart. Yeah. Zach, you pretty much made it clear that you felt like she was coming on too strong. She told you to F off and called you odd. Yeah. So I think that romantic spark is pretty much done with you guys. But I feel like he's trying to remain in her good graces for the win. Yeah. And I think that's what's kind of annoying about the season is that I'm not saying no one, but maybe no one is really prioritizing love. And I feel like it's more strategy than love. And don't get me wrong, I love a strategy game show. Yeah. I absolutely love it. But for this show, I want to see love.
Yeah, I think the balance is just off. It's not enough love. It's too much strategy. And that's probably why the whole Ace and Shelly thing doesn't feel genuine because it feels like y'all both are strategizing to be together and America can see through it. That's why y'all was so surprised that, how come America don't like us? We've been playing our game perfectly. Well, for one, for y'all to be the only strong couple, y'all not even closed off. So, like, America don't even believe in that. But right here, Chris does bring up a good point. If you are really in love with someone and you came here to find a connection, right? I would think, hey, I'm not telling you to do a fake out like Rob, but if you don't want to start all over Pepe, right? With the whole, you're still feeling Hannah even though you're still on the island, or Iris, you feel like you finally found your connection. Hey, how come you didn't leave? Or maybe that $100,000 prize is still up for grabs, and you're like, you know what? I feel bad, but just like Hannah, a day later, she was over there, spit shining. So, it is what it is with that.
Yeah, I also feel like when it comes to Sierra voting for Taylor, I didn't like that rationale.
Yeah.
I don't think that you should vote because Nick would be devastated. He has you. He should be okay.
Yeah.
He's there for a romantic connection, so he should be all right.
And Sierra makes no sense, because when y'all was voting between Jalen and Huda, Nick went behind Jalen and Sierra went behind Huda. So y'all voted separately before, but I'm guessing she's thinking, well, Taylor will be gone and that will hurt him. Well, here's the end of the day. He got you, like Blair said.
Yeah. That's
too much strategizing, as we was talking about before. Not enough Love Island. So yeah, you're right, Blair.
And I will say that when it came to the vote, people were saying that, well, Iris and TJ had about as much time, if not less time, than Clark and Taylor had. So it's kind of like, how can you decide whose connection is stronger?
Yeah.
And personally, for me, the fact that Iris and TJ had to go through Casa after forming a small connection and being able to go back to each other and continue to grow it, I felt like that said more to me than where I felt Taylor and Clark were at the time.
Yeah.
So that was just my perspective on that.
Do you have any thoughts of what Alandria said about how she said like her voting for Taylor was basically like a stab in her heart and things like that?
Yeah, I think Olandria probably should go home.
Really?
And the only reason I say that is because I hear what she's saying. Sierra, if we're doing this girls thing and she's supposed to be your girl, then why would you vote to keep the guy that did me dirty in, Olandria's eyes? But the thing is like, nobody's really here for that. We're here for these love connections, even though Sierra's reasoning wasn't because of a love connection. Olandria, just because you fell out with somebody, it doesn't mean that I need to vote in a way to make you feel better. I think that they're getting a little too lost in the sauce with the friendship.
Yeah. My thing with that, Olandria, is you are fair to feel that way. My only issue, if it is an issue, and it's not really even an issue, I want you to say that to the person that you have a problem with. You get what I'm saying? Also, Alandria, you also need to remember your vote counted too. And you decided to throw away your vote with Austin, knowing that Austin was going to go home. Yeah. Right. So you could have stood behind Andrina, to where even if Sierra was to go behind Taylor, like there would have been a draw, then we would have seen what would have happened there. But I would say this is what happens when y'all pledge to girls or girl code instead of actually finding love on your journey. Now you have to pay attention to what Nick may want, which is too much strategy. And then you got to pay attention to what Alandria may want, because that's a stab in the back. Well, whole time, I mean, you did kiss her man in Soul Ties to explore the connection. But I'm not even on that. I'm just on, hey, if you feel something about someone, hey, if that's your best friend, then you should feel the freedom to be like, you know what, that felt like you stabbed me in the back right there. But honestly, I don't think there will be anything brewing from that. I hope not.
Yeah. So Pepe invited Iris to sleep with him at bedtime. They did decide to sleep separately, but it looked like they were chopping it up, having a little bit of a conversation before they went to sleep.
TJ body print is still literally in the bed.
Yeah.
Pepe, what happened to feeling bad for Hannah? Listen, you have a type. I see you.
So it's the next day, and Shelly made Ace breakfast.
Okay.
Taylor asked if Shelly and Ace are going to lock in, and Shelly says that she doesn't know, but she does want to get to that point.
And this is what I don't understand, but go ahead, Blair.
Yeah, I was actually happy to see Shelly making Ace breakfast. Yeah. I agree that I think that, for a guy to pursue a lady, I like seeing that, and I was happy to see that for a while, but I felt like Shelly was starting to get complacent and not really showing where she actually stood and showing how she felt about her connection.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see her giving some type of like response to what has been going on this whole time.
And and I'm happy you said that, because that actually makes me sad for Olandria, right? The reason why that makes me sad is we see Shelly finally making Ace breakfast, and if y'all paid attention to some of the episodes, Ace doesn't only make breakfast for Shelly. Sometimes he made breakfast for Amaya. He made breakfast for other people and things like that. He held tournaments with pancakes and ping pong. So we see Ace basically, even though his main attraction is Shelly, we see him give. Yeah. You know what I mean? And what made me think of Shelly finally making Ace breakfast that we seen, right? It made me think of that time that Orlando was actually downstairs making breakfast for Taylor, and Taylor was to the corner talking about how much he's not attracted to her, right? And Ace was right there like, she's over there making breakfast for you, you dumb A. You get what I'm saying? And even that time where they got on the dock and Olandria made some type of I think she made some type of charcuterie board or something like that for Taylor, even though Taylor did not deserve it, even though the signs was there that, hey, Olandria, I respect you for putting yourself out there. I was happy to actually see Shelly. I'm like, it's about time that like you do something for Ace. Let Ace know you like him. Right. You get what I'm saying? Or let somebody know you like them, besides always being the one that wants to be chased. So I 100% agree with you that, hey, I do believe that a man should court, but if we look at the ratio, Ace been courting 99% of the time. Shelly can make breakfast one good time for Ace. You get what I'm saying?
So Iris and Pepe chat, and she knows how Pepe felt now with Hannah leaving. So they're just kind of connecting on how they felt with their partners leaving and trying to get to know each other a little bit more. Okay. Huda and Chris chat, and he's not feeling too great. He had a dream about basketball, and he's thinking about whether or not he might have to give it up soon. There's other interests that he has that he wants to get into, and it takes a lot of time out for him being overseas 6 to 9 months out of the year. But Huda doesn't think he needs to give it up. He can pursue multiple things at once.
Yeah. Do you have any deep thoughts about this?
I was happy to see Huda be there for him. Okay. And allowing him to express himself and get his feelings out. And it was nice to see that in their couple relationship. I felt like that showed me that they are growing their connection and like being there for each other. Yeah. Because I feel like Chris was there for Huda when she was crying and all that stuff through Shelly. So it was nice to see that. Other than that, no opinions for real. I mean, I don't know much about overseas basketball or whatever it is. So, hopefully he chooses to do whatever brings him joy. So, yeah.
Even though he was emotional in this instance right here where he was talking about how he don't want to tear up and he talked about the dream that he had, I hope he talks to someone that actually knows him about this, because there is a reality and there is a time frame on, hey, you may have to give up that dream of being a pro basketball player, at least in the NBA. He may be overseas and things of that nature. But if we listen to the background of Chris, he doesn't have a place of his own because he says, ain't no point. I'm gone for basically 3/4 of the year. So when I come back, I'm basically couch hopping from family to family and things like that. And I need to pursue something else, right? In this moment, I feel like this conversation, I understand that he's trying to bring some depth to the relationship, but I feel like this is not a conversation for someone you just met. Because for someone you just met, Huda, she's going to give you basically empty hope.
But I guess for me, I don't mind him bringing it up, because if his emotion, like if you could clearly tell he was upset, and she was asking him like, hey, you seem off today, what's going on? I don't think he went to talk to her about it for her to have a solution. I think his energy was off, and he was just like, this is what I'm feeling.
No, that's fair, but I'm hoping he don't take her words as like, as in, okay, yeah, Huda said that I should continue to pursue it. I'm going to pursue it. I think like he needs to talk to other people. And usually when it comes to, because I have a lot of athlete friends, right? When it comes to them being an athlete all their life, they really need to basically like go to a therapist. Yeah. Because what happens is that's all he knows.
It's your identity.
And then you retire from basketball or you retire from a sport, and guess how old you are? 29. like you get what I'm saying?
He's got a lot of life ahead of you.
And then you haven't learned no other skills. So that's why I'm hopefully I like the fact that he feels good now. But if this is something that she wants to pursue, because I'm talking as if they are going to stay together out of the villa. If this is something that he wants to pursue outside, that can be a heavy burden for the relationship, because then he have an identity crisis. Yeah. Who am I? You know what I mean? Well, you're Chris.
So Brian is interested in pursuing Amaya. Her passion and emotion does not scare him. It's Hispanic culture, and he's used to it.
How come you didn't go for her before?
And that's my biggest question mark with Brian. I'm not going to try to say what he feels, whether it's genuine or not. Okay. But I'm questioning it, because I am wondering when you had the chance to get to know her when she was going to be going home, and you had the chance to stand up for her. You were not interested.
Yeah.
But somehow after the game, where you can see where Amaya is placing, you actually want to pursue some type of romantic connection. And I will say, he did have a conversation with her to let her know, I see you, I have your back, I know how it is. Yeah. But that conversation didn't feel romantic to me. So it's the big question mark. I'm not saying either way, but don't hurt Amaya is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Here's the thing about it, and we gonna get more into it once they have their conversation. But you're 100% right. And coming from a guy perspective, feelings just don't change overnight like that, romantically at least, right? I never heard him mention any interest he had for Amaya before this. And this is the danger of actually having a challenge or a game to where you can actually peek on what America thinks about each islander. You know, and I think this is the danger of Amaya being in the position that she's in like the position of, I know I've been saying it over and over again, about the position of where she's emotional and things like that. There's nothing wrong with being emotional. People are emotional, but when you can't regulate it, you put yourself in danger. And what do you put yourself in danger? You put yourself in danger of people not being genuine, and they use your emotions against you, right? And you can't see the forest for the trees because you really want this one thing. You really want this one connection. And besides you actually putting people through a filter and actually testing people and actually holding people to their words, you try to get that feeling by hook or by crook.
Right.
And usually you get a hook or crook. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, with Brian, I'm not going to say 100% that I do not believe him, but I will question him more than 50%. Amaya always been there. She ain't no bombshell that just came in an episode ago. So why wasn't there no type of at least conversation? She always been from Hispanic heritage from the beginning. So like, I have my questions. I understand it's not like he didn't choose Amaya and then chose like someone who is not Hispanic. He did choose Andrina, so I give him bail for that.
Yeah.
But after a game where America let us know who is the favorite, it does come off as a little,
Yeah. So basically, Amaya and Clark have a conversation.
Yeah.
Clark was voted to the bottom. She knows somebody had to be voted to the bottom, so she's not taking it too hard.
Yeah.
And Amaya sees the good side in Clark and hope that America can see it too. She considers herself to be a misunderstood person a lot of the time because she's emotional, but she's going to keep being herself. And if she's not your cup of tea, don't drink it.
Yeah. I think my prediction for Clark is I think there's going to be a turn for Clark. I think this is the
I can see it happening already.
Yeah, I think right now people be like, you know what? We're not going to bully Clark. I think at first they did, but now they realizing that, you know what? And it sucks that the hate for Clark is always tied to somebody else. And even if you start liking her, it's always tied to somebody else. Like, I want people to like individuals for themselves, not because you dislike somebody else.
But I feel like with Clark it's hard because I don't think we get to see much of her personality.
Yeah,
it's all within the confines of Taylor.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, if you're going to dislike Olandria because of the reasons why Olandria has shown to be disliked, more than I'm going to dislike Olandria because I like Clark and things like that. I hope like everybody have their own individual reasons why they like and dislike the people,
Right. So Shelly and Ace have breakfast on the dock.
Yeah.
Shelly doesn't want to explore anymore. The shakeup was enough for her to realize that she didn't want to lose something good. They end up kissing. I really don't know if they're officially closed off because Ace didn't respond with an answer. At least, y'all love to tell us. You got to watch the editing. He didn't say nothing according to me.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if they're really closed off, but I'm happy to see that Shelly is expressing where she is at when it comes to their connection, because I was getting tired of the confusion. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, but it's too late because y'all game is over now. Now y'all wasn't the first one to be closed off. Y'all know where y'all stand with America. And to be second to last or last place in a lot of these categories, that's a big climb to make, right? And I think a lot of people just don't I think a lot of people don't like them individually for their own reasons when it comes to Ace, when it comes to Amaya, when it comes to Jeremiah, with Shelly, unfairly with Huda and things like that. So them together,
or fairly with Huda.
Yeah. For some people, for me, it's both ways. I feel like both people have a point, right? But my issue with Huda is, hey, Huda, it's kind of hard to defend the bully. I have no problem with the bully getting bullied, right? Even though they both share a point. But my thing with Shelly is, hey, overall, you wanted Ace, and we all knew you wanted Ace. The thing that America didn't like is the whole you trying to gaslight us as if you want somebody else. We all know you want Ace. Why are you making us basically do this whole cat and mouse game 28 episodes in? It just didn't feel like a good watch, you know?
So they end up getting a text, and it's time for the crash out challenge.
Yeah.
And I ended up just writing the things that stood out to me.
That's fair.
Zach ended up kissing Amaya in the first ball pit when you're supposed to choose who you kiss in the last ball pit. Okay. So he ended up getting 2 kisses in. He chose Olandria for the last ball pit for that kiss. Yep. Pepe chose to kiss Iris. Elan, basically, he crashed out apparently when he realized Nick was in the villa. Iris preferred the kiss with Pepe over Elan because Elan chose her to kiss. Yeah. And Brian chose Amaya to kiss.
Okay, that's good.
So they're all talking about how the challenge went, and Brian is liking Amaya. Pepe thought the kiss with Iris was great. Amaya says the kiss with Brian was good, and she's open to exploring him. Iris was taken by surprise with how good the kiss was with Pepe, and she's also open to exploring that, but she's still missing TJ.
Well, if you miss TJ, go home. I'm telling these people, if you truly found love, then Love Island did what it was supposed to do. Go home. But if you're gonna be here or still here and talking about the people that left, then you're not. Then just hush.
Okay.
No, because
Chris don't want to hear y'all.
No, because like Hannah, because my whole thing is by you over here being stuck on somebody, you are not only ruining your own experience, but now you're ruining somebody else's experience and things like that. If you're going to be in the island, be in the island, be in the present. So, hey, y'all express each other. Y'all both want to act like y'all spouses got killed off and things like that. Then guess what? Explore each other.
Yeah. So it's nighttime.
Yeah.
Amaya and Zach have a chat. Zach knows that he should have said some things in private to Amaya during that stand on your business challenge, and he went too far, so he apologizes. Amaya apologizes for cursing him out. He said that she's a wicked girl. I see you, you see me. Amaya starts getting emotional because she does really feel bad for calling him those names, and the romantic side has come to a close for her when it comes to Zach, and I was glad to see her make that decision.
Same. This is what you call gameplay, and Zach, you tried your best, but it's not going to work. At the end of the day, right, she told you to F off. She called you weird. And now when you found out that she's number one in basically every category with America, now y'all over there making heart shape with the fingers last game. Now you over here pulling her for a chat, talking about some, like, you know what, I really apologize for this. This is not what I meant. Well, whole time the day before, you basically telling her that, hey, that kiss that we had, you kind of forced me. I ain't want to do that. You made me cross my boundaries and things like that. And Zach, you don't come off genuine at all. I'm watching you the whole time hugging this woman, and every time you hugging her, you looking everywhere except looking at her. You
looking around. Exactly. It's as though he's trying to wait for the conversation and the interaction to be over. You're not into her. And that's fine. But don't play her. And
guess what? I'm happy that Amaya stayed 10 toes down. She said she got 10 toes, right?
Not losing one.
She got all 10. She's like, I'm not diabetic, okay? Guess what? I got all 10 toes. And guess what, Zach? I understand, even though you're talking and you're apologizing, and every time you hug me, you put your head on my shoulder and look everywhere and things like that, and looking for the camera. It's not going to work with us. And guess what, Maya? I'm happy for that.
Yeah. So Sierra and Nick have a conversation. Apparently, Nick doesn't know what closed off means.
Crazy.
So they have a discussion about what it means, and it's basically not open to getting to know anyone new and focusing and pursuing each other. It doesn't mean boyfriend girlfriend, and Nick was happy to hear that it didn't mean boyfriend girlfriend, according to me.
Yeah. Did you like this conversation?
It's not about like or dislike. I think that they did have to establish what it meant. I thought that Nick would have known what it meant.
Yeah.
But especially since he agreed to it, and that gives me more of a reason to think that he just did it so she would stop fooling around with Elan.
Yeah.
Or Elan would stop trying to get with her. But yeah, I was just kind of like, Nick, you're making me feel like I don't know if you're really into Sierra as much as like you're trying to make it seem. I get y'all are closed off, but I don't see you guys progressing to boyfriend girlfriend. It's like he's not quite there.
But this conversation was more than what closed off mean. This conversation was about what's going to happen outside the villa.
Okay.
And then she said basically like, hey, when we get outside, basically the closed off that's just basically a term that's used inside the villa for Love Island. But I do not expect us to be girlfriend and boyfriend on the outside. I expect us just to focus on each other and see where it goes there. And he said, you took the words right out my mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Well, the way that I took the conversation is she was comparing it to what it meant on the outside.
But
like when you go on the outside and you're closed off, it's the same thing as not dating anybody else.
But at the same time, if they're talking
versus coming up with a game plan,
if they're talking about being on the outside and they had these conversations on what they think it would look like on the outside, this is another conversation to where Nick doesn't talk. He basically he jumps on the back, or he piggybacks on what Sierra said, and he's like, you took the words right out my mouth. Exactly. And I'm like, we never know what Nick thinks about Sierra. Really, only time we know what Nick thinks about Sierra is when it comes to some type of competition with Elin, or when she's over here trying to talk to TJ during that time when he was a bombshell. But the whole thing with her leading the conversation, talk about closed off and what she expects out the villa and boyfriend, girlfriend, and we gonna focus on each other and things like that. She led the whole conversation, and he did not add anything to it except, I agree with you.
Facts. Yeah.
So I'm like, it's not giving leadership or that he wants something more out of this outside the villa.
So Shelly and Chris talk, and Shelly just wanted to clear the air. Chris explains that he took a step back from her because she was getting comfort and attention from Ace, and it seemed like that was her choice without her actually saying it. So he moved his focus onto Huda. Shelly says that, I wish we could have talked because, that wasn't exactly her experience. Mm-hmm. And she says, it's all perspective. But they both agree they're growing in their separate connections, and they'll just leave it where it's at.
It's too late, Shelly. The damage of you gaslighting us is done. I do not see a path for Shelly to make it to the top of basically Love Island unless they are voting people off that is liked and things like that. This conversation that she had with Chris is only a result of what America thinks of her, of that game. If she would have thought that she was at the top of every category and things of that nature, she wouldn't have had this conversation with Chris. She had no problem telling Chris, or basically giving off the illusion that, you had one conversation with me during that whole male game and things like that. You had one conversation with me, and whole time you switched over to somebody else. I'm paraphrasing. I know that's not what you said directly, but it's like, but now you want to actually initiate a conversation to gain some type of clarity. Why do you want clarity now? You was good not having clarity before.
Yeah, you were just sitting around confused, talking to people, talking about how confused you were.
Exactly.
When you could have had conversations and cleared things up. But I guess she realizes, let me go ahead and do it because people ain't feeling it.
And then on top of that, you cannot go this long into the game of being chased. Like, it's not going to work for you because you saw what Chris did. Chris brought you 2 pancakes. He put a flour, whatever it was. Huda got 1 pancake, even though I don't think it was intentional, but maybe it was, right? My thing is, Shelly, eventually you go have to make a choice on who you like and actually show effort in that relationship. Mm-hmm. So that's why this whole thing of, you know what? I'm hearing your perspective from what happened, and my perspective is completely different. It's crazy, right? And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, you was gaslighting the whole situation.
So Iris and Pepe have a talk on the dock. Yeah. We learned that she doesn't really date on the outside. She's only had 3 boyfriends up to the age of 24, mm-hmm. and neither one of them really likes sleeping alone. But there's lots of smiles and laughs during their conversation, and it seems like they are doing a good job with exploring each other. It seems like they're actually enjoying each other. And I will say, I think Iris and Pepe both have pretty chill personalities. Yeah. So I could see this being kind of an easygoing connection for them. Mm-hmm. And will it be something that could last on the outside? I think it possibly could. They both seem like pretty decent people, but it just matters if they see it for each other. So
yeah, mm-hmm. I think this is a dangerous combination. Pepe mm-hmm. is liked, but I think he's liked mainly because there's not a lot of likable people on the show. I think Iris is liked enough, but I think we need to take the votes out of the people in the villa hands, because if they get together, they're gonna vote them out. You're right. But my thing with this that I found funny about this whole scene was Iris basically talking, and she's basically giving the, as I would say, the whole facts on her whole dating history. Pepe's there like, wait a minute, you don't go out and date? She's like, no, I only been in probably 3 relationships within 10 years. I only had this many partners, and I don't like to sleep alone and things like that. And he's just taking these mental notes of like, oh, I think I can ride this car. I think I can take this car off the lot and things like that. I only got 10,000 miles on it and things like that. Okay, I think I like this car. And that's basically what Pepe is doing. But, Pepe got a type. how quickly he's over Hannah is crazy.
So we get to Amaya and Brian. They're having a talk in the speakeasy, and Brian tells her he doesn't want her to change. He wants to get to know her for himself. She doesn't need to slow down. He loves someone that's passionate and shows that she cares. She appreciates hearing that, and Brian is feeling the physical chemistry. He thinks that they probably move at the same pace, and they get to making out. She get to straddling, and I feel like this is what Amaya has been wanting for the longest. I think she really wanted to be able to do this, have this connection with somebody. Now, Brian is still a huge question mark for me.
Okay.
When he was talking about the physical chemistry and moving at the same pace, are you just trying to get to the physical with Amaya, or do you actually want to and know her as a person? I know he's saying all those things, but it didn't hit for me, and maybe it's something that I need to see grow as we go along, but I don't know. I don't know about Brian just yet for her.
If you had to put a percentage on it between 0 and 100, how much do you believe in this connection?
How much do I believe in it? Maybe 25.
Really? That low?
Yeah.
I will say seeing them kiss is the equivalent of a parent walking in and seeing their two children kissing. I was like, when is it going to be over? Right? I know a lot of people probably felt happy because there's a lot of pity for Amaya and things of that nature. But the reason why I am concerned about Amaya needs that physical touch, right? To the point where she will initiate it, right? I don't see enough defense on Amaya that makes me feel comfortable. And when I say defense, meaning that, hey, because you want this connection, and when I say this connection, it doesn't necessarily mean Brian, but a connection, period. And especially since you have failed connection after failed connection after failed connection, I don't see you becoming stronger and stronger and stronger with every new connection. I see you becoming more desperate and desperate and desperate with every new connection. So that's why I'm like, when I see her initiating these type of physical contact to where she went in for the kiss, she's the one that's straddling him and things of that nature. She's the one initiating physical touch. It's almost like, hey, when you're leading with that, I'm hoping that you are hearing with the same intent, that you can actually pick up on some type of discerning skills to see how real this is or how fake or how fake it is. I don't know if I believe Brian. I probably go higher than 25%. I probably go 55 to 60%, because my whole thing as a guy, when there's a beautiful woman that you are interested in, they always been there. And Brian, you had a lot of time beforehand to show your interest, to show that you liked Amaya, and you didn't until you realized that she's the golden ticket, or until you saw her getting powered on. And maybe that is what triggered your whole, you know what, I like you, we are the same heritage. But I need something more for your connection, more than, you know what, you are Hispanic, and guess what, I can handle being called babe.
And I think that's the main thing. Is I want to see Amaya be pursued, and not chased down like Shelly likes the people to do. But let's see them make the effort. Let's see them come to you. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that for Amaya, just because I feel like it'll put her in a position to decide if this person is really for her or not. Yeah. Versus her being so excited to have somebody to kiss or to make out with, Yeah.
And I think I think it's refreshing to see Amaya, because we can obviously see, at least from my perspective, that, hey, she's not playing the game in the way of other reality stars are playing, or other social media people are playing it. She really wants to connect with somebody, and that's refreshing, and that can be refreshing to watch, but also for the personal experience, that can also be a trap, right? And my thing is, to your point, I think if she was playing the game, which I'm happy she's not, she would see how much influence she got. She'd be like, you know what, America likes me. So guess what? I would expect a lot of people to pull me today. Yeah. But you get, and it'll be my choice. And then it will be more, she'd be on the defense. But because she's not playing the game, and because there's no regulation to what she feels, she's like, Brian want to talk to me. Zach want to talk to me. And it's like, you don't really see that it can potentially be because you hold the cards. And that's what I want Amaya to see, or she go get herself hurt again.
But I still applaud her for closing things down with Zach.
Oh, because, no, that needed to happen,
because he was making it known he wasn't into her, and now he want to switch up the day after. So good on Amaya for that.
Yeah, and no man get cussed out like that and be like, you know what, I still like you the next day. Right. No. Anything else?
That's all I got.
I need you to subscribe, like, share, comment. Expect to see us tomorrow and Sunday. We see y'all.
Bye.